Hi, I wanted to make a quick video explaining the difference between slope-intercept form and point-slope form. First of all, slope-intercept form is written as y equals mx plus b. M represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the point where x equals 0 and then you're given the y value. Now, if you have information in an equation and it asks you to put it into slope-intercept form, you need to know the slope and the y-intercept. This information must be given or you must find it. We'll talk more about how to find the slope in just a moment. The other form of the equation that you need to know is point-slope form, and it is written as y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses x minus x1. This m, once again, represents the slope, and this x1 and y1 are going to be found using the point that's given. We'll talk more about that in a minute as well. In order to find an equation in point-slope form, you need to know the slope and you need to know one point. If you don't know the slope, you need to find the slope using the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. As we turn to the next page, I will show you two problems that you asked me to solve using these formulas. Now, number 1 asked you to show the point-slope form of the equation of a line that passes through the point -1, 6 and has the slope of -3. Now remember, it's asking for point-slope form. So you need a point and you need the slope. Well, luckily here we have a point and we also have the slope. Now, if my equation of a line is y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses x minus x1, I'm going to just simply plug this information in. In the point that's given, -1, 6, -1 represents my x1 and my 6 represents my y1. So when I rewrite this equation, I keep the y, I keep the x. I substitute these values in for the y1 and the x1. So once again, if I rewrite my equation, y remains the same minus y1. My y1 is 6, so I have y minus 6 is equal to, m is my slope is -3, and then in parentheses I leave the x minus x1. Well, this would be minus, my minus is from here, and then -1. Anytime you have two negative signs together, it becomes a positive. So my equation is y minus 6 equals -3 times x plus 1. And this is my equation in point-slope form. Here is my point, and here is my slope. So using that information, when you move on to number 2, they once again want you to find an equation in point-slope form. And remember, point-slope form, I need a point and I need the slope. Well, here I have 2 points, so I need to find my slope first. In order to find my slope, I use this equation. M, which means slope, equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. To solve this problem, I'm going to label my point x1, y1, and my second point x2, y2. And I'm going to work on putting this into the slope equation to find the slope. So I'm going to move over here on my paper, and y2 is represented by 0. y1 is represented by 4. x2 is represented by 2, and x1 is represented by negative 6. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4, and 2 minus negative 6 really means 2 plus 6, which is 8. If I simplify that, my slope is negative 1/2. So I keep the negative sign, and 4/8 is equal to the fraction 1/2. So I now have my slope. So if I go back to my point slope equation, y minus y1 equals x minus, sorry, that's not anything, x minus x1, I can plug all of my information in. This is nothing. This was a mistake. So y stays the same, minus y1 is 4. M is my slope, which I just found, which is 1/2. X minus x1, which is negative 6. And once again, remember, I don't leave two negative signs together, so my equation is y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 x plus 6. So that is my equation in point slope form. I hope this was helpful to you. If you continue to have questions, please give me a call. Thank you.